Hi, I'm Tamara Lackey, and on this episode of reDefine, we talk to four-time author, world and humanitarian photographer, and one-time stand-up comic, duChemin. In our talk, we discuss the perils of going into debt as a small business owner and what it feels like to fall 30 feet from a wall onto concrete below, how social media has helped him through his recovery, and his most interesting answer to the question of why he once had to declare bankruptcy.
You're watching reDefine with Tamara Lackey, presented by Adorama TV.
Before we get to our fabulous guests, I'd like to introduce a segment that we call How Did I Not Know About This?, where we check out really cool stuff that we think can make your life easier. Hitmonk.com lifts the curtain on air travel anxiety by sorting through flights based on what they call an agony level, obviously going for the least amount of agony. With the option to toggle between price, duration, departure time, arrival time, Hitmonk knows that you most likely want the shortest amount of flying time, the least amount of connections, and the best price and flight times. So it ranks all these factors and highlights for you what they think are the best options, or at least the least agonizing ones. This allows you to take into consideration all the aspects of traveling by plane that might not be outwardly apparent on other mass airline search sites. Thank you so much for joining us on the reDefine show, where we talk to people who do work they love and explore the innovative methods they're using to pull everything together. Joining us today is duChemin.
Hey, Tamara, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
The fall, which just I cringe when I think about, but tell us about exactly what happened.
It all went by in a blur. I was photographing with a group, with a workshop group. We do annual workshops called Within the Frame Photographic Adventures. So it was our first night with this new group, and we were out. We'd had dinner. We came back to the hotel, and immediately across from the hotel there was quite a small little wall that you could sort of, put your bottom on and look. There's a river that runs through the middle of the city, and so I sat down on this. But then as I looked over, I thought I'd love to get a shot of the bridge, but it was late. I just wanted to get some scouting shots. When I looked down, I could see this ledge. Everyone else standing over there, all they could see was, the river 30 feet down. So I turned to this one girl who was standing there, and I'm a bit of a smart aleck by nature, and I said, "Anyone want to go for a swim? I'm going swimming." And I hopped down thinking that, as soon as I hop down, I'll just kind of crouch and she'll think I've jumped into the water. Except I actually did. I mean, I didn't land in the water. I landed on the concrete below. But so the whole thing, what was meant to be actually quite funny, was really pretty stupid. As far as I know, I just rolled. One of my ankles is a little weaker than the other. And now both my ankles are weak. And I think I landed on it and just kept on going. I rolled it, and it all happened so quick, and it was about 30 feet. And
30 feet.
Next thing I knew, I was crumpled in a ball on concrete 30 feet below where I'd started. And it's amazing how lucid my thoughts were. I think they went somewhere along the lines like, "Ah!" Translated, it means something like, "This is a bad idea." No, it's funny. All I could think was, I'm going to die. I honestly thought, I'm going to die. But you don't really have time to, they always say your life flashes before your eyes. The only thing that flashed before my eyes was the fact that, the ground was coming very quickly. I landed on my feet, crumpled into a ball. I broke multiple bones in both my feet, cracked my pelvis. And then they air evacuated me back home to Ottawa, where they did surgery. And now I'm just waiting for bones to heal and learning to walk again.
Yeah, I remember on Twitter hearing about your catheter and and obviously 40 days of recovery once you got back to Canada. 40 days of hospitalization.
Yeah, 40 days of hospital, yeah.
And that was a combination of what I can surmise through your writings of intense boredom and pain and gratitude and appreciation for those who rallied around you.
Oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. And it was all of those things, Tamara. There were days when I would just go to bed, with tears running down my face, and going, I can't do this. I cannot do this for another month, another 3 months. I can't do it. And then, the pain meds would kick in, or the sleeping pills would kick in, and I'd wake up in the morning and there would be hundreds of emails and Twitter comments and people that I have never met that are saying, David, you inspire me. David, you're my hero. You can make it. And these people became my hero. I mean, I cannot believe how big these hearts are.
That's amazing. Tell us the name of your new book.
The new book is called Photographically Speaking.
Photographically Speaking.
It's about the visual language. So the subtitle is a deeper look at creating stronger photographs, or some variation of that.
And this is more instructional than the previous ones, right?
Photographically Speaking is about photographs. And what I've noticed in leading these workshops and sort of photographic adventures is that across the board, photographers are very bad at speaking about photographs. You say, tell me about the decisions that went into making this photograph, and they would be very hard-pressed to say anything more than, well, I like it. And then I just want to throw a camera at them or something. It's just like, come on, there's got to be more to it than I like it. If you like it, why? Like, what is it that you are responding to? There's something in that photograph, and you can see it. It's not like there's some secret there. It's either the light, the moment, the gesture, the framing, the lines. What is it that you are responding to? And I really believe that if photographers can become better able to speak about photographs, to actually look at a photograph and say, this is a horizontally framed photograph, and that matters because it accentuates the horizontality. The story is horizontal, and so were it shot vertically, it wouldn't play the same way. It would include other elements that were irrelevant to the story. Talking about depth, talking about every decision that goes into a photograph. You should be able to look at a photograph and talk about it. Second half of the book is me speaking about photographs. So because I can't be with every reader and talk through their photographs, I take 20 of my photographs and I walk through it. And it's not me praising my photograph.
This one is also amazing.
This one is amazing, and this one is amazing.
There is so much in common. They're also great.
But there's some that I look at and I say, if I could have changed something, I would change this.
Yes.
But mostly it's me saying, again, it's not an appraisal of the photograph. It's me just simply describing the photograph. And it says this because of this. This line implies this. The relationship between this element and this element implies this. And so I walk through 20 of my photographs, and sometimes there's circles and arrows and, pointing people to help understand. So if you can understand how people read a photograph, just like if you understand how people read a book, then you will make a better photograph.
Absolutely, 100%. What would be just 3 pieces of, and they don't have to be the only 3 pieces, but 3 pieces of advice that you would offer to people to help better pull it all together? And by all, that's deliberately vague.
I think sort of to address the theme that's kind of run through our conversation, the first thing I would say is you got to listen to your fear. And by listen to it, I don't mean obey it. I mean, you got to hear it. You got to hear it out. You've got to face it, and then decide whether that fear is actually legitimate or not. And then you got to take risks. And when it comes to risks, don't try to avoid risks because they're always there. Choose your risk. Decide which risk you can live with and which one you can't.
Choose consciously.
Exactly. Is the risk of literally getting to the end of your life and looking, if you even have that luxury, looking back and saying, gosh, there are so many things I regret not doing. Is that a risk you can live with? Rather than, well, I really need that big screen TV. Second would be, creatives are notorious for being lone rangers. And that's good. Part of that is really good, because if you want to listen to your own voice, sometimes you have to, and but stop doing it on your own. Surround yourself with a team. Find people that are good at what they do. Get a bookkeeper, get a designer, stop being a lone ranger.
Third practical
thing, and I will preach this on a soapbox until the day I fall off that soapbox and
don't fall off anything else,
my feet again. Get out or stay out of debt. I can't preach this enough. And as someone I have friends who have been bankrupt, I have friends who have been nearly bankrupt, and as photographers and creatives, we're so delusional. Tamara, when I filled out my application at the trustees for bankruptcy, there was a line that says reason for bankruptcy, and I put optimism. I was far too optimistic, and I know photographers do this all the time. I know all kinds of people who convince themselves that if I get that new MacBook Pro, I will write a better novel. If I get that new 85 1.0 whatever lens, that's a money lens. I'm going to make money on that. People that get into the creative entrepreneurial thing. We're desperate. We don't want to be chained to a cubicle. We don't want to be chained to anything. We want to do the work. We want to be free to do, and nothing will chain you to work you don't want to do like debt will.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And good luck with the book and learning to walk again and filling up those workshops, although it sounds like you almost have them full, but all the ones that you're still putting out there and everything.
This episode is brought to you by Adorama TV. Visit the Adorama Learning Center where you'll find photography tips and techniques, links to the gear used in this episode, and related videos. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. And the next time you're in New York City, visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.